location of Fort Whoop-Up, which was just down the river, maybe half a mile, but they put it here in a park. And Fort Whoop-Up is actually a American whiskey trading post. And, you know, we're here north of the Montana-Alberta border. We're in Canada, north of the 49th parallel. But after the Hudson's Bay Company, quote-unquote, sold its territorial rights to the Dominion of Canada, the new Dominion of Canada, see the train bridge there. There was a sort of vacuum of power, and so people came in from Montana, from the Mississippi River system, from the Missouri, from Fort Benton, and came up the Whoop-Up Trail, and that's Fort Whoop-Up. And Fort Whoop-Up was a whiskey trading post to the Indians. We're on Whoop-Up Drive here. There's Whoop-Up Days. It was strange to me when I arrived here, and you know, we're celebrating Fort Whoop-Up, and, you know, debauching the Indians, the American whiskey traders debauching the Indians. It's not a name that I think really is a sort of civic name that, you know, we want to celebrate it on, you know, special holidays and name our major infrastructures on it, based on it. But there it is. And so we're, you know, really in the Wild West here, the cowboy and Indian country, the land where the buffaloes roamed. And the cloud and the skies are not cloudy all day. And this is where University of Lethbridge is situated. And I'm taking a bit of a detour here. That right there is like a French military receiver for satellites. There's a kind of strange business relationship. Putting that in there, it's some kind of French installation to gather intelligence, and it's kind of a strange, you know, the strange business deals are made around this university, and all kinds of agendas are being advanced, some of them secret. That's the way it is these days, you know, when military in our society is so powerful, so rich. The struggle to control the agenda in universities is pretty intense in some quarters. And certainly there's a very important lobby, the lobby of essentially the Israel government that has more or less taken over the president's office in the treatment of me. The suspension without pay on a day's notice, not on any process that happened, arbitration, but on things that might happen. This is the way the war on terror is, you know, structured. People can be incarcerated and put in prison without charges. So this seems to be coming to the campus of the University of Lethbridge, and I find myself in this position of being a suspended full professor with tenure. So tenure is supposed to protect you from, you know, being fired or rendered ineffective in your job, you know, having all access to the resources of the institution or your paycheck, in my case. It's supposed to protect you, tenure, from that kind of recrimination if perchance your work takes you into an area where you might be articulating things not popular with powerful interests. And surely the Israeli lobby in Canada and elsewhere, the United States, and France, and Britain, Bulgaria, Romania, I mean, it's a very powerful lobby. And the Brenny-Brith Canada is part of Anti-Defamation League of Brenny-Brith, which goes back to 1843, and it is to advance the security of Israel. It is to advocate for the security of Israel. So it's an agency that is working for, in Canada's situation, a foreign power, and yet it has very deep connections inside the government. It actually is essentially a government agency inside the Canadian infrastructure of institutions, of federal institutions, of provincial institutions, political party, the parliamentary system, and its Westminster approach. So now we're going down into Indian Battle Park, and this is the site of the last sort of intertribal battle between the Crees and the Blackfoot. And the Fort Whoop-Up, the replication of the Fort Whoop-Up is right in this area. We'll see it presently. And you know, this is the Wild West. When you talk about, you know, this construction of the West is, say, being menaced by Muslim culture or Islamic religion, what is this West they talk about? Well, it's surely, this would be the West. And I guess if we went over the Rocky Mountains just nearby and into British Columbia, and we got to the Pacific coast, well, that's the west of North America, but we're kind of getting into Asia and the Pacific Rim, and we're getting into kind of the beginnings of the East. You know, how we construct our mental universes, our geographic sensibilities, our orientations to place and to history. So this word, the West, has powerful resonance. Western civilization moving from, you know, Sumeria, from Mesopotamia, from Babylon to Egypt, to Greece, to Rome, you know, to Paris, to London, to Amsterdam, and then taking the big leap across the Atlantic Ocean with Christopher Columbus in 1492, and then suddenly the Indian domain, the domain of the indigenous peoples of what we now call the Americas, suddenly that becomes the extension, the frontier of the West, and out of this West emerges a place called the United States of America, which that Fort Whoop-Up was an effort to colonize the British Empire. And so they didn't fully succeed. We're in a place called Canada, and here we are. And there's the University of Lethbridge. And let's move on.